Good day, everyone, and once again, welcome for another video presentation. So last time or on our previous videos, we are done already with fingerprint classification system. So now let us try to have here also on fingerprint developing and lifting. Okay, so we have here this term chance impression. So what do we mean by this word chance impression? So technical definition by the word itself, chance. Okay, so we are referring to those fingerprints which are imprinted, okay, by mere chance or without any intent to produce the print. Or simply, the best example that we could give in here are fingerprints that we found or we can find in a crime scene, okay, or we are referring to latent prints as we have here, okay. Latent prints, those we are simply referring to those fingerprints that found at the crime scene. Okay, so those are what we term as what we call as latent prints. So another kind or another things or classification with regards to chance impressions are those plastic impressions. Okay, so day to day we are or individuals usually hold, okay, plastics in their uh, let's say daily okay, in daily transactions, or every time we go to the market, okay, we are holding this or we are taking, okay, products or items using plastics. So there, without the intention, or simply we are referring to those fingerprints that are made without, okay, intentions on producing that. So what could be the other way around? Okay, what would be the those fingerprint that has a particular purpose. So usually those fingerprints that was taken or that are being taken by the police officers every time we take or we request police clearances. So bago tayo bigyan ng police clearance, kinukuhanan muna tayo ng fingerprints. Okay? And that is purposely for future reference or for personal identification. Okay, that could help, okay, the police organization solve cases in the future. You might be involved, or if there might be a chance, okay, or if there would be a time that you are involved in a crime, okay, cases. So another one here, we have the visible prints by the word itself, those fingerprints that we don't need to have chemical treatment or chemical uh, substances, okay, to for us just to apply, okay, for us to see it clearly. Okay, so visible prints, those are fingerprints that are seen or we can see through our naked eye, right? So that is what we are referring to as chance impressions, technical technically here in criminal, I mean in fingerprint, as well as personal identification. So there are actually different types also of latent prints, okay, or different kinds of fingerprints that we can see in a crime scene. So first one is visible, okay, it might be a visible latent print. So those are usually produced, okay, because of some colored substances, okay, that are present on our fingers, okay, such as what are those? Okay, we have here blood, okay. So kapag yan we touch or our hand is bloody, and then we hold some things, smooth surfaces, okay, or concrete, okay, usually the fingerprint impressions are being made on those concretes, okay, or on those surfaces. Not only blood, we have also ink, greases, and as well as dirt, just like what we have here in our illustration, dirt, or that might be a paint. Okay, so usually those are some substances, colored substances that can produce visible latent prints in a crime scene. Okay, another one is semi-visible. So this is a kind of a latent print, okay, that we need some magnifications. Okay, that we cannot observe it clearly on our naked eye, but through the use or through the aid of a magnifying glass or maybe microscope examination, then we can clearly observe, okay, what are the fingerprint impressions, okay, as well as maybe photography. We can clearly observe through the use of photography, as we can see in here, We have here some fingerprints that was found on a clay or in a plastic or in a rubber, and also it might be a soap also. Okay? So, on those things, usually semi-visible po yung klase ng latent prints na nakikita natin. Okay? Katulad ng sa paraffin. So, this is actually used with gunpowder or urine or gunpowder, usually to trace, okay? Or to use in gunpowder, in detecting gunpowder, okay, or presence of gunpowder on the hand of a suspect, okay, or of a person suspected to have fired a firearm, okay, with the use of paraffin and also, okay, uh, with the aid or with the use also of a certain chemical to detect those gunpowder substances. Okay, and with that, those are things wherein we can see some semi-visible latent prints. Okay, and we need a little bit the application. Take note in this kind. Usually we need magnifiers. And the last one, okay, the last one in here is we have invisible latent prints. So this kind of latent prints, usually we cannot see it, okay, through our naked eye. So we need to develop it uh, through the use of powders, okay, fingerprint powders, or if not gas. Kinakailangan natin ng gas developing measures, and if not, maybe a liquid, okay, liquid substance in order for us to develop those or this kind of latent prints, invisible latent prints. Okay, so usually we can see this kind of fingerprints or on papers, especially white papers. We cannot see it clearly. Here we cannot see it through our naked eye. We need to develop it. So just like here in our illustration, so they use black powder, okay, fingerprint black colored powder, okay, in order for them to develop the fingerprint patterns in here, okay, before so that they can clearly observe as well as photograph and of course to lift or before lifting it, okay, from the surface. So we have here also an aluminum, okay, they use aluminum powder, okay, to develop the fingerprint found on this white surface. So that is for invisible latent prints. Okay, this might be the hardest kind of latent print to see in a crime scene. Okay, and we have here the methods of developing latent prints. We have the physical or mechanical. So simply, okay, it says in here, developing reagent adhere or stick to the sweat. Okay, katulad na lang ng fingerprint powder, katulad na lang ng nagamit natin dito. So, ano ba ang meron sa fingerprint natin? So, usually, ang meron naman dyan is sweat talaga natin. Okay? The sweat coming from the sweat that comes out from the pores, okay, or pores of our skin, okay, so that is the one that creates the fingerprint, and that is also the one that being okay, or wherein it will be our developing reagent or the powders are being sticked on, okay, so that is simply we are referring, okay, or the best example in here is the use of um, fingerprint powders, okay, so with that, that is for the physical or mechanical method. So here in chemical method, an example that we could have in here is the gas, okay, gas method of developing, as well as the liquid method of developing. So later on the following slides, we are going to have, okay, the different liquids, liquid substances that we can use in developing a latent print. Okay, so overall, those are the two methods. So as to mechanical, we have here the powder method. So there are actually several, or there are variety uh, colors, okay, of powders. So as to the applications, it depends, okay, on the surface. So we have the basis, or we base it on the surface wherein we found the fingerprint, okay, so that is wherein we are, that is the way on what para makapili tayo kung ano ang dapat na powder ang ating gamitin, okay, in developing the uh, fingerprint. So applicable usually on this kind of surfaces. The powder method is applicable usually on glass, porcelain. So as you can see, smooth surfaces usually ceramic, pottery, a metallic item, plastic, and bamboo. Okay, or usually those surfaces that are smooth, so we can use powder method on those. So the logic as well, I mean the logic behind the detection of that fingerprint or development of that fingerprint is because of this one, okay, the one that I've mentioned a while ago. So the powder, okay, is attached or will stick on the secreting fluid, okay, or we are referring to the sweat, okay, that are present on the fingerprint that was made, okay, on that surface. So those are the things that we should also have, or I mean consider here in powder method. So as I've mentioned a while ago, powder method actually has several kinds and several colors as well. So there is a powder that is made of aluminum. There is also a powder that is made on lycopodium, and of course powder, ordinary powders, and with several colors. Okay. So as to the uses, it depends on the kind or the surface. So let's say the color of the surface is black. Okay, so are you going to use black powder to develop the fingerprint on that surface? So sabi natin black yung surface natin, tapos yung powder ba na gagamitin natin, ideal ba ay black? Okay, so it should not be. We should use, of course, the opposite color of it. So we are going to use light colors maybe. So yellow might be the best choice, or maybe white might be the best choice also. Okay, so we are going to consider the color as well as adherence of the adherence in using powder method. So kung yellow yung surface, okay, let's say yellow smooth surface po yung meron tayo. Okay, yung surface ng kung saan nakalocate yung fingerprint natin, then we are going to use, okay, maybe we can use black powder, okay, or if not, maybe we can use white powder instead, okay, in order for us to have adherence, okay, of the powder, or the powder is matched with the surface. So kapag black yung surface natin tapos gumamit tayo ng black, then we cannot see, okay, the fingerprint, we cannot develop it, right? So that is the purpose why is it that there are several colors of fingerprint powder that we have in here. Okay, and it is also advisable daw po dito that as a fingerprint lifter on the crime scene, it is better for you also to make a trial, okay, run before attempting to develop a possible latent prints. So that is also okay, or that is also advisable as an investigator. Okay, so you can consider that, but take note: do not touch. Okay, or do not make sure that you will not destroy. Okay, or you will not disturb the integrity, or destroy the integrity of the uh, fingerprints or the evidences that are present on the crime scene. Okay, so now we have here, or those are what we call on as the the powder method. Okay, so now still on the kinds of fingerprint powder, we have here the black powder and we have here the aluminum powder. So black powder has weak adhesive power, so hindi siya masyadong kumakapit. Okay, so baka konting hangin lang is natatanggal na or nasisira or nagkukos ng sira dun sa fingerprint natin. So it is advisable maybe on a certain or in a normal, okay, surface, or normal has a not a windy, okay, weather. Okay, so that is for black powder, and aluminum powder, of course, this has a gray color, okay, or it has a gray color. So of course, by the word itself, it is a powdered aluminum. Okay, and it has a stronger adhesive powder, unlike dun sa black powder. So aluminum powder is was made, okay, or can be used to remove remove its weakness, okay, which is weak, okay, for us to have here aluminum powder, because it has a strong adhesive powder, okay. So that is for aluminum powder. So yun, it limit to suitable amount and carefully applying it on surface. So take note also that in dusting or in using powders, be careful, okay, in dusting method, because you might destroy the fingerprint. Right? So you just make it you just have, okay, enough pressure, okay, and you must follow the ridges of the, or the pattern of the ridges, okay. You must follow it as you brush or as you dash, as you perform dusting, okay, so that you cannot destroy the linings or the fingerprint ridges, okay. So that is for black powder and aluminum powder. Another one is lycopodium powder. So as you can distinguish it by seeing, or it is usually a yellowish color powder, okay. So it has the adhesive powder, this lycopodium powder, it has a weak adhesive powder as well, just like the black powder, okay. However, you can use this on if the surface is black, then you can use this yellowish color powder called as lycopodium powder, okay. And we have here, to have a stronger adhesive powder, ang ginagawa nila, mixture of lycopodium and then the aluminum powder, okay, to make it has to make the adhesive power stronger, okay. So that is the reason why they mix it, and it is common in Japan. The spee black powder na, then ay meron tayo dito, the squirt powder, okay. Black powder, it is actually a mixture, okay, mix oxidizing iron into aluminum powder, okay, but it has a weak adhesive powder as well. Well, it has a the powder is it says in here, when the subjected evidence surface is white color, the powder is used more frequently, okay, because it produces clearer appearance than the other black powder, okay. So that is that is for SP black powder. So it is better, or it has a better appearance. However, on the adhesiveness, it is weak as well. Okay, so it has a clear appearance as well with aluminum powder. Okay, so those are the 5 kinds of fingerprint powder. So moving on, still on detection of fingerprint at the crime scene. So nung una, dusting method tayo. Ngayon, liquid method naman yung meron tayo. So kung hindi kaya ng dusting method, katulad na lang sa papel, since matagal na yung fingerprint, or it took, hindi lang hindi fresh yung fingerprint, so wala na, dry na yung paper. So that might be the time that we need to use liquid method, okay. So that is to expose the fingerprint mark, okay, usually in a paper, okay. And yun, sa tagal ng panahon, okay, and then we suspected that there is a presence of fingerprint on that paper, then we can develop it using a liquid method, okay. So by the time that there is already an exposure of the fingerprint, then that might be a perfect chance for us to take a photo as well, okay. And then an example of a liquid that we are using when it comes to developing fingerprint, especially on papers, we have here the ninhydrin solution method. Okay, so ninhydrin method, usually it has solution. It has two solution: the ninhydrin acetone solution and then the ninhydrin petroleum benzene. Okay, so it has a different. It has advantages. Okay, in that, they have differences when it comes to the effect on the paper that was used, or on the writing that was present on the paper. Okay, so usually ninhydrin method is on the process. As to the process, okay, the object, it takes more than 24 hours before the fingerprint appeared in perfect colored rendition, or violet or purple color. Okay, so as you can see here in the paper, the effect is it produces a violet color. Okay, so the some ninhydrin solution, okay, they destroy the writings, especially handwritings, okay. But as to here, it doesn't destroy. So let us try to familiarize what kind of solution was used in here, maybe. Okay? So we have here the first one, ninhydrin acetone solution. So applicable po siya sa paper, white, wood, bloodstain, fingerprint, and paper wrapping of cigarette. However, it destroys, okay? It destroys the writings or the other writings on the document. That's why we need to have here ninhydrin petroleum benzene solution. Okay, so it is the advantage of heat of this solution is that okay, it doesn't destroy the letters or written letters with ball pen or other ink on the paper are not destroyed. Okay, so just like in here, the writings, the handwritings on the paper using a ball pen, okay, or other inks wasn't destroyed. So they are, we can conclude that they were able to use here ninhydrin petroleum benzene solution. Okay, but in here we can use this on printed because it uh, doesn't destroy the writings in here. Okay, so that is for the ninhydrin solution. Right, so now we have here another liquid method. In under liquid method, the TMB or tetramethylbenzidine naman. Okay, so it is usually used naman for a bloody fingerprint. Okay, so this kind of chemical or solution. So another one is we have this PWA method, or they are calling it as a special method. So this was invented actually by Nabu Yamauchi, a Japanese fingerprint expert. Okay, and he's the one also who authored fingerprints identification in Japan. Okay, so what is the application of this? So it is applicable on wet surfaces. Just like na lang po ng plastic bag, metal products, plastic products, okay, that are wet, vehicle body that are wet, bathroom tile, smooth surfaces with no water absorbent, glass product, weekly magazine cover. That could be the best application. I mean, it is best also to apply SPWA method in here. A adherent surface or masyadong madikit, okay, na surface, okay, or malagkit, kumbaga, a magnetic card, we can use it, or poor quality plastic bag or crappy, okay, plastic bag, then we can use SPWA method or special method. Okay, and we have here the liquid, I mean, the view Victoria Pure Blue method. So it is used naman, okay? Usually in kidnapping cases, yung mga nagamit na masking tapes to develop fingerprint on those masking tapes. Okay, so it produces blue-colored, okay, fingerprint. So take note, the other term for this is dyeing method. Okay, dyeing method. And with that, that is for Victoria Pure Blue method. Right, and we have here the last method that we are going to have. So if it is not possible for a liquid method and then a powder method, then we are going to apply already gas method. Okay, so it is applicable in metals that are very soft, I mean smooth. So in here we cannot use liquid in here, it's very smooth, this kind of aluminum or this kind of metal. As well as powder, we cannot develop it in here kasi hindi kakapit dyan, di ba, yung ating powder maybe. Okay, so the best method we are going to apply a gas method. So just like in here, printed wall or metal, glossy paper, it has a very smooth surface, skin of human body, right? So we cannot apply powder or uh, liquid method. Okay, then we can use gas applying method. Okay, plastic and other synthetic resin also is applicable. Leather products, plywood and leather. I mean, it was repeated. Okay, so leather products as well. So we have here the acrylate fingerprints, an example of a gas an example of chemical being used in gas method. Okay, so the result in here is a white, okay, color, uh, development of the fingerprint on the metal, okay, on the aluminum. And we have here the basis for the choice of what method, okay, of developing medium to use. Okay, so as to age of latent print, kapag yan ay fresh pa lang, okay, then ideally 1 to 10 days, then maybe we can still use powder or iodine crystal. Okay, and if not, up to 6 months old na siya, then we can use silver nitrate solution liquid method. Okay, and then older than 6 months or more than 6 months, then we can use ninhydrin solution, or maybe we can use already gas method as well. And for the kinds of latent prints, dust print, usually we use iodine crystal, okay, or dusty print. Oily print naman, we use steel iodine crystal or maybe aluminum or lycopodium powder. Okay, for us to have here the aluminum powder, then it is more. It has a strong adhesiveness. Okay, so with here, I mean, those are some basis for us to choose. Okay, what method are we going to use? Just take note also as to age, consider. Kasi kapag yan ay mas matagal, of course, dryer na yan. So, hindi applicable ang powder method. Kasi ang powder kumakapit sa pawis ng ating, na meron or present doon sa fingerprint. Okay? So, that's why we use or we can apply gas method or liquid method. Another thing that another thing is that we need also to familiarize these ones. The things that must be not be done at the crime scene. So do not take note, ladies and gentlemen. Do not leave without photographing. So first, you need to take a photograph of the fingerprint before trying to develop it or before trying to lift it. Okay, first, or that is the basic rule that you should keep in mind. Another one, don't do not lift on small movable object. Okay, don't try, do not disarrange. Okay, do not lift those small movable objects. As much as possible, maintain the exact locations of those objects on the crime scene. So do not disarrange. That is for you not to destroy, okay, the integrity of the crime scene, and that is na and for us to avoid technicalities in court proceedings as well. So now, the third one, do not remove object without photographing. Basic rule. Okay? Every time before you move or before you remove, before you lift, before you develop or try to lift or try to develop, then photograph first those fingerprints. Okay? Do not powder the entire crime scene. Of course, that might or don't since you cannot find fingerprint or you want to find fingerprint or you cannot see a visible fingerprint, then you try to spread powders in the whole crime scene, then that is not a good idea. Okay, it's not advisable in here. Okay, do not develop visible latent prints such as dust, okay, and oily prints using brush and powder. Okay, so what should be the thing that you need to do? Okay, be careful as much as possible when it comes to developing those kinds of dusty or oily prints, then of course, okay, if you want to use brush or powder, then be careful as nice as you can. Okay, or not, then maybe, okay, you can since it is visible already, then there's no need. Okay, there's no need to brush or develop it since it's visible already. If you can already see it that clear, okay, you can observe it very clear, then you can just take or you can try to lift it already. Okay, but don't forget to photograph it first. Okay, so that is for the for those are only some practical things that we need to consider before or in taking fingerprints in a crime scene. Okay, so overall, those are the things that I would like to share as of this moment, okay, with regards to fingerprint lifting and developing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.